The sun was setting on a hot summer day as four friends set out on a road trip. They had been planning the trip for months, eager to explore new places and create unforgettable memories. As they drove deeper into the wilderness, the road became increasingly treacherous. The pavement turned to dirt, and the trees seemed to lean in menacingly on either side of the car. As they approached a particularly ominous-looking turn, the car suddenly sputtered and died. The friends were stranded in the middle of nowhere, with no cell service and no hope of help. Night began to fall, and with it came an eerie stillness. The friends huddled together in the car, trying to ignore the sense of foreboding that seemed to seep into their bones. But as the hours passed, strange things began to happen. Shadows flickered outside the windows, and strange whispers could be heard on the wind. One by one, the friends began to succumb to a sense of overwhelming dread. As they sat in terrified silence, they began to realize that they were not alone. Something was out there in the darkness, watching them with malevolent intent. Finally, with a sound like the rending of flesh, the car was torn apart from the outside. The friends screamed in terror as they were dragged out into the night, their bodies torn apart by unseen hands. The road trip had turned into a nightmare, and they had paid the ultimate price for their desire to explore the unknown. As the friends were dragged out of the car, they struggled to fight back against their attackers. But they found themselves surrounded by a group of twisted, inhuman creatures that seemed to have crawled out of the depths of the earth. Their bodies were emaciated, their skin a sickly grey, and their eyes glowed with an unnatural, otherworldly light. They seemed to be some sort of monstrous amalgamation of human and animal, with razor-sharp claws and teeth like knives. The friends tried to run, but the creatures were too fast. They were surrounded on all sides, and the air was filled with the sound of their screams as they were torn apart. In the end, only one of them managed to escape. She ran blindly through the woods, her heart pounding in her chest as she fled from the horrors that pursued her. But no matter how fast she ran, she could hear the creatures' snarls and howls growing louder behind her. She stumbled over a root and fell, gasping for air as the creatures closed in on her. She thought it was the end, that she would die just like her friends had. But then, suddenly, there was a blinding flash of light. It seemed to come from nowhere, and it was so bright that it made the creatures recoil in fear. The last thing the girl remembered was the sound of the creatures' terrified screams as they were engulfed in the light. When it faded, she was alone in the darkness, surrounded by the torn and mangled bodies of her friends. She stumbled out of the woods, her mind numb with shock and terror. When she finally made it back to civilization, she told her story to anyone who would listen. But no one believed her, and she was eventually forced to keep her tale to herself. To this day, she still has nightmares about the creatures that lurked in the darkness, waiting to pounce on unsuspecting travelers. And she wonders if, one day, they will come for her again.